nitrates, we call it as bubble boy syndrome, blue baby syndrome. In nitrates, blue baby syndrome, and then we have mercury presence, which is Narmada disease, and cadmium present in water leads to Ittai disease, and fluorides lead to the skeletal as well dental fluorosis. Now let us talk about the other one, which is called microorganisms. If microorganisms are present, what are the diseases which come as a result? So the microorganisms are responsible for waterborne diseases. We call it as waterborne diseases. So some of which could be even communicable disease. So the various waterborne diseases are typhoid, cholera, jaundice, gastroenteritis, amoebiasis, and presence of Helminth diseases, ascariasis, teniasis, likewise. So drinking contaminated water will lead to these waterborne diseases. So like typhoid, cholera. Typhoid is due to Salmonella typhi, Vibrio cholerae causes cholera, and jaundice is hepatitis B virus, and gastroenteritis entamoeba and amoeba is responsible for this, and amoebiasis by entamoeba and amoeba. Then Helminth diseases like ascariasis, then teniasis, even fluke infection in the stomach, all these are due to improper water. So the potable water should be boiled and filtered. If there are even spores in it, if there are even eggs in it, this may cause this waterborne diseases. To understand whether how to get rid of waterborne diseases is, we have to just boil the water and filter the water. So now that is the reason why we have stopped using the water supplied by the government, and we rely nowadays on the packaged water. So packaged water undergoes nearly 7 levels of treatment. So in the 7 levels of treatment, they filter it, then afterwards they sediment the total dissolved solids, then in the 3rd level of treatment, again they go for 3 levels of distillation. So filtration, then sedimentation, sediment of, that is nothing but TDS removal, total dissolved solid removal, then they go for nearly 3 times distillation, 3 times distillation. So 3 plus 2 5, then they go for addition of minerals, okay, addition of minerals, and then finally they use HEPA filters to filter the waters, and then finally addition of minerals, In the water supplied by the government, we have the TWAD board has chlorination instead. So they do not perform all the 7 steps. However, after filtration and TDS removal, what they do is they just add chlorine and then dispense the water to the domestic system. So chlorination is being performed. So TDS removal, they use alum for it. Alum is used generally for removal of the TDS. Then after which finally the distillation step is very vital, because that is boiling the water and then condensing the vapor and again boiling the water. Triple distillation is nowadays used in the packaged water. So this way we can ensure that the water that we drink will be devoid of any of these germs. So in case if there are germs, so the germs could be the result of fecal contamination, which is very common in India. So in the open waters, people even now tend to defecate. So though we have very good schemes like missions like Swachh Bharat, still fecal contamination is there. As a result of this, these germs get into water. So we can even find out this, whether these germs are there in the water, by a test wherein we can understand if E. coli, that is Escherichia coli, the E. coli, if it is present, then invariably all these germs would be present. So a test is performed to see that if E. coli is present in the waters. If E. coli is present in the waters, then it is understood that if E. coli itself is present in the water, any of these germs can also be present in water. So it's an indicator to test the purity of water. So this E. coli is an indicator to test the purity of water. to test the purity of potable water. So, even if it is though we have the ISI brands wherein in the packaged waters, if you want to make sure that we drink the safe water, it is might as well better to again boil it and drink it. So, even if minerals are added to water, it does not matter if we boil it and again and filter it and drink the water. So, thereby we can avoid these problems related to, and common cold is another problem which we also have to talk about. Common cold was also reason for this waterborne infection. It is also a waterborne infection, though it is caused by a rhinovirus. So, these infections may arise as a result of drinking improper water, or we call it as the potable drinking water is not safe if it causes these waterborne diseases. Now, let us go ahead with the air pollution. So, air pollution has become very common. So, contamination of air with various components lead to air pollution. So, National Air Quality Ambient Standards (NAQ), National Air Quality Ambient Quality Standards, NAQ has devised that the various air pollutants are SO2, which is a primary air pollutant, then NOx, which is another primary air pollutant. Apart from that, what is common in India is SPM. We call it as SPM, that is suspended particulate matter. The suspended particulate matter, there are two types in it, that is PM10 and PM2.5. These are two different particulate matter present in the air. Apart from SO2, these are primary air pollutants, SO2 and NOx. Then also we have SPM, and apart from these we also have some secondary pollutants. Then apart from that we also have in the presence of lead, and now as we have started using unleaded petrol, the lead emission has come down. Then presence of benzene, that is volatile organic carbon atoms, benzene, presence of benzene, then ammonia. So, lead, when it is present, it is fatal. Then also we have these dioxins, benzopyrens. As a result of burning, we have benzopyrens, dioxins. These compounds are also present. Mostly these compounds arise as a result of vehicular exhaust, or it could be because of burning of fossil fuels. That is the main reason for air pollution. Burning of fossil fuels is the main reason for air pollution. Whenever we burn anything, it can be a matchstick or it can be a burning a diesel or petrol in a car, or any fossil fuel. If it is burnt, it leads to the emission of SO2 and NOx. Apart from that, we also have this suspended particulate matter. This could be from the soil source as well, because this is nothing but dust which has a higher diameter. This is which we call it as particulate matter 10 micron. Then we have dust which is very fine dust, which we call it as PM 2.5 mu, that is very fine dust. What you see on the benches, on your laptops, on your fan is fine dust, that is called PM. So this 10 micron dust is not that dangerous, because when this 10 micron dust goes into our lung, goes into our nostrils, what we do is we invariably cough it out or sneeze it out. But this SPM, PM 2.5 micron is a very fine dust which can even go into your lung and get deposited there. This is the most dangerous of the two, because this is the one which is responsible for the various respiratory illness that we come across, like the asthma, wheezing. Even in some sensitive people, it may lead to, the PM 2.5 may lead to wheezing and asthma. So the lead is the source for lead is mostly again from the fossil fuel, petrol or diesel. Now we have started using unleaded petrol. So unleaded petrol is used as an anti-knock, as we know. So use of unleaded petrol can really decrease the air pollution. Then apart from that, you also have benzene and ammonia presence in the air pollution. Start பண்ணலாமா? So when we talk about so we all are very aware of this London smog 1952, which nearly killed 6,000 people. So London smog 1952 killed nearly 6,000 people, and we are also aware that our own national capital is also suffering because of air pollution. That is the reason they have started introducing CNG, compressed natural gas vehicles, and public transportation, use of public transportation, carpooling, public transport like metro rails, monorails. Then carpooling can be encouraged, thereby we can decrease the automobile exhaust. So the main reason for air pollution, as we see in the cities, in the urban regions, is due to this automobile exhaust, and this can be prevented by use of CNG vehicles, use of public transport and carpooling systems. So then apart from this, we also have to devise strategies still which can control the lead emission, wherein we use unleaded petrol because of this. So these air pollutants can be contained with efficient strategies to control them. So there are other strategies like for industries, which we call it as ESPs. So we are talking about the urban regions and residential regions. Then in industries also pollute as a result of stacks. So to control industrial pollution, what can be devised is we can devise ESPs, or electrostatic precipitators. These electrostatic precipitators can be used to control the exhaust coming from industrial pollution. So if the stack, they design it in such a way that the pollution, that is the fumes which is coming out of these industrial stacks, has to be diverted through an ESP. When it is diverted through an ESP, which is called as an electrostatic precipitator, we can cut down the industrial emission of various air pollutants as well. So this we have to make a mention of the Bhopal Gas Tragedy, which nearly killed many people and made many of them blind in 1984. So, this Bhopal Gas tragedy, as we are aware, it is because of the emission of methyl isocyanate. So, MIC emission led to the death of many people, and unfortunately many of them lost their eyesight because of this MIC present in the air. So, we have come across various incidents wherein the health of people was compromised because of these emissions from industries, emissions from accidental emission from industries. Then also we have the automobile exhaust. So, to cut down these emissions, we have the strategies like ESPs have to be employed, so that the air pollution can really be reduced. Then we talk about noise pollution. Noise pollution, we have an Air Act for it, Air Act 1981, to control this air pollution. Then also we have this noise pollution is also considered as part of, it comes under air pollution as per the Central Pollution Control Board of India, wherein the noise level should be between 80 to 120 decibel. So, it should never go beyond 80 decibel. Growing greater than 80 decibel can harm the ear canals and eardrum, and also it can result in nausea, vomiting, and sometimes irreparable damage to the eardrum also if it goes beyond 120 decibels. So, noise also is considered as part of air pollutant as per the context of Indian context. So, noise pollution can be reduced by having a buffer zone between the industrial regions, that is special economic zones, and the residential regions. So, having a very good planting trees could be a good solution, because they act as a buffer. They act as a buffer to control this noise pollution. They can also purify the air, as we all aware that plants break water to evolve oxygen, thereby they purify the air. So, planting more trees can cut down not only noise pollution, but can also cut down the air pollutants, as we are aware that the photo splitting of water leads to the evolution of oxygen, which can really purify the air. So, now we come to the soil pollution. So, soil pollution, when we talk about soil pollution, here we are dumping the waste, okay, dumping organic and inorganic waste is the reason for soil pollution. Then apart from that, now the dumping also dumping of other waste like e-waste, that is all the waste which is coming from the circuit boards and pen drives and all that, we call it as e-waste, and then organic waste, and again medical waste. So, medical waste should be properly treated before discarding it. So, organic waste, e-waste, medical waste, and also that fertilizers and pesticides, these are another reason for soil pollutions. As we are in the beginning, as we talked about Rachel Carson Silent Springs. So, when the farmers use fertilizer and pesticides, they tend to accumulate in the soil, and this will lead to the depletion of the naturally present what you call it as flora or fauna of the soil. So, this leads to the depletion of them. As a result, the soil will be vulnerable to attack by other pathogenic bacteria, pathogenic microorganisms, and harmful pests. So, dumping of waste will lead to this formation of is the reason for soil pollution. Now, we are aware that we have to segregate the waste. One is the waste which can be recycled, the waste which cannot be recycled, and again usage of less plastic. So, plastic waste has become very common now. That plastic waste less than 50 micron or more than 50 micron has become a nuisance, because they are choking the drains, they are found elsewhere, it is now become omnipresent. So, reducing the usage of plastic can also protect the soil, because when plastic is present, this existing microflora and fauna will be affected. So we'll end the talk with the various movements which has revolutionized our perspective on environment, and also which has made indeed a change in the people's mind. Let us talk about the various movements. To make a mention, we have to talk about this Chipko movement. Chipko movement means hugging the tree. So Amrita Devi Bishnoi, she led her team of people, team of women especially. It is, we can also say it as this was the pioneering movement for ecofeminism. So Amrita Devi Bishnoi was leading her own fellow team, where people were cutting trees. The Maharaja of Rajasthan and tried to cut this tree, Kejri. This is a Fabaceae. So this tree was considered as sacred by them. The Bishnoi community considered Kejri tree as a very sacred tree for themselves. So the Maharaja ordered to cut the Kejri trees. As a result, these women folks went and hugged the tree. When they hugged the tree, then they lost their life. Nearly 300 people fell as a result. Along with the trees, they were cut down and they lost their lives, and that led to the formation of a movement called Chipko Movement. To recognize this valor, Government of India every year has a Amrita Devi Bishnoi award for exemplary contribution to environment. It is awarded to the females who give exemplary service to environment. Now Sundarlal Bahuguna and Chandi Prasad are leading the Chipko movement. Now it has branched into a Piko movement and many other movements. Then we have to make a mention of this El Nino. El Nino means boy child. So this boy child, so born around Christmas, December. This is responsible for the various storms and floods that have occurred across 10 to 15 years. So this El Nino has an effect. So it happens during December, where upwelling of oceans in the Peruvian coast has led to the movement of waters towards the eastern side, and as a result, this El Nino has caused tremendous climate change. So the various storms and flood have been as the result of El Nino. There are various episodes of El Nino from 1990 to 2010. So these El Nino, which means boy child, which refers to this upwelling of oceans which happen in the Peruvian coast, as a result of which this leads to the movement of the current towards the eastern side, and that causes climate change across the globe. So we have the environment. When we talk about the environmental activism, we need to make also mention about NBAR, Narmada Bachao Andolan. Narmada Bachao Andolan, where Mrs. Mehta Bhatkar is an activist who leads that. And she is against rehabilitation of against the building of dams which lead to the rehabilitation of tribals. So she is fighting for it. So as I said, the pioneering movement Chipko led to ecofeminism in India. It is still taken up by Mehta Bhatkar and also Arundhati Roy, the author of God of Small Things, also joined Mehta Bhatkar in her Narmada Bachao Andolan movement. So these movements have led to the greater environmental awareness and our accountability towards environment. So together, if we focus on the various issues of environment, then we can find a solution for it. Let the solution be scientific, or let the solution be, think as there's a saying that think globally. and act locally. So, we can think globally, adopt the strategies used elsewhere, then we have to act locally and find a solution for ourselves. So, if we think globally and act locally, then we can find a solution for this environmental issues and put an end to it, so that we have a pristine, safe environment for our future generation.